On Overdrive today, we take a closer look at Honda's Warrior in the very busy mid-size SUV space, find out what's been added to the KTM 390 Adventure, and know more about India's very first Supercross Racing League. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Soini Dutt. Honda has finally taken the wraps off its mid-size SUV, the Elevate, and it's about time that they did so because the last SUV they sold in India was the CR-V, which exited the country way back in 2020. Now bookings will begin next month, but before that, let's take a look at all the details.
This is the much awaited Honda Elevate. I'm going to call it I'll Wait, because you see, Honda has completed 25 years in India and they've made their fans wait for a rather long time for this SUV, that proper Creta rival. Let me give you a closer look. The front end is the most pretty angle for this car, or should I say the most imposing angle, because they've given it a rather upright grille and it's a huge grille. In fact, in the white color, it almost looks like a mini Land Cruiser. And that's with all the horizontal detailing that you see for the headlights, and that interfacing with this upright grille. I think that front end looks really good. And if we move to the side, it's got 7-inch rims shod with 215 section tires, so that's broader tires, broader rubber than the Honda City. In terms of the cladding, you get the squared wheel arches, and the cladding is nice and thick, so that gives it that muscular SUV look. And if you look at the bonnet, it's pretty flat. It's a clamshell bonnet. It's pretty flat when you look at the angle, and then when you actually look on top of it, it's got some nice contouring on it. The windscreen is quite sharply raked, not too upright here. It may not look very tall to you, but honestly, it is quite a tall car, at least in terms of the dimensions. It's taller not just than the Volkswagen Tiguan and the Kushaq, but also taller than the Seltos or the Creta. And in terms of the width, it is wider than the Volkswagen siblings, the Tiguan and the Kushaq, and the wheelbase is as much as the Tiguan. So you again get LED tail lights. You can see the design inspiration or the design language being very similar to the Honda City or even the Amaze for that matter. And you see the IV Tech badging. I'm going to come to that in a bit, but here what this hides is a 458-liter boot, which again is a pretty good number. That was a spare wheel, but this is the kind of boot space that you get. It's a little contoured here. The wheel arches are coming in, the wheel wells are sort of coming in, but I think overall it's pretty generous, the kind of space that they've given you. And here is your spare wheel. So that's the cabin. So you get this forward finish here. It's got a satin finish on top of it, and then you get this dark brown upholstery. It's not the typical beige upholstery that we see with Honda and Hyundai cars. This is a nice brown upholstery that you get here. That brown and black, that interface is looking quite nice. You get a 10.25-inch screen up here. You can see the reversing camera feed coming through. So it doesn't get a 360-degree camera, you get a reversing camera. And there, if you see underneath, yeah, that's Ritesh pointing that out. So that is the lane watch camera. So it will tell you if anyone is in your blind spot. That is the steering wheel for you, multifunction steering wheel. You also get a 7-inch multi-info display. And it's very much like what we've seen in the Honda City, where the speedometer needle is an analog needle and the rest of the display is TFT. So that similar configuration carries through. So 7-inch for that, 10.25-inch for this. You also get the Honda Connect tech with it. Up here you get the wireless charger, you get 2 USB-A ports, you also get a 12-volt socket here, 2 cup holders. This is the 6-speed manual. You get some more storage space here. These are the door pads, 1 big bottle and some space for knickknacks, more space for knickknacks here. You only get 2 headrests. These are very similar seats to what you get in the Honda City, but you only get 2 adjustable headrests. So the rear seat is only good enough for 2 adults and a kid. You see the IV Tech badge, you haven't seen a hybrid anywhere. That's because the hybrid is not yet launched. It will come at a later date. As of now, what you get is the 1.5-liter engine from the Honda City. It puts out 121 PS and 145 Newton meters of torque. And while Honda hasn't given out the figures yet, they claim that it will have best-in-class emissions and best-in-class fuel economy as well. Bookings open in July and the vehicle goes on sale in August. Deliveries will begin around that same time, around the festive season. And in terms of the safety, despite that upright grille, despite the tall stance of the front end, pedestrian safety is going to be best in class, is what Honda says. And you can see the camera right here. It also comes with the Honda sensing technology. The ADAS functions will come to most of the variants of this car, is what we are told, which tells me that the starting price for this vehicle is going to be slightly on the higher side. And knowing Honda, it's a premium vehicle, so it will have a premium positioning as well. So expect the pricing to be in the zone of the 1-liter engine variants of the Kushaq and the Taigun. It will be around that. And when the hybrid comes out, it will compete with the likes of the Grand Vitara hybrid or the High Rider hybrid. Now this Elevate is a global model for Honda, which means that it will be produced in India, but it will be exported to other parts of the globe, right-hand as well as left-hand drive markets. And this will be followed by the hybrid, like I said, but there'll also be an EV variant that will come out at some point within the next 3 years, is what they're saying. And in terms of the EV, I expect a battery capacity of between 45 to 55 kilowatt hours. Honda has sold 3.9 million vehicles in India in the last 25 years of their existence in our country, and most of it has come on the back of sedans: Accord, Civic, Honda City, of course, Amaze, and there has been the CR-V, of course, but CR-V, BR-V, WR-V, but this is going to be their first proper crossover, and they have big expectations from it, and I think this vehicle will deliver on most of those expectations.
Currently, the Tapukara plant has a plant capacity of about 180,000 units. And yes, to prepare for Elevate, we've been increasing and ramping up our production. So we have a capacity we are producing about 540 cars per day till last year. Now this has been actually increased, so 620 cars. Definitely we like to be in the SUV growing segment. That is how the Elevate is being designed. So we have done a lot of extensive surveys in the market and what people they actually want from their SUV. What do they expect Honda to make an SUV like? So with all that survey knowledge, we have made and designed this car specifically for Indian market. And as you said, this is a global model, but India is a lead country.
In other news, Maruti Suzuki has launched the Jimny starting at 12.75 lakh rupees for the manual transmission variant. But if you were to go for the top end automatic trim, you would have to shell out somewhere close to 18 lakh rupees on road. Now that becomes a very pricey proposition, but if you're looking for a no frills entry level manual transmission, which turns out to be a very value for money proposition in terms of an off-roader, then you would want to go for the entry level variant of the Jimny. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you all about the KTM 390 Adventure.